That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Well, Daredevil Born Again episode 3 is tonight. Of course, they launched the first 2 episodes last week. New episode comes tonight. But with the new episode comes some viewership numbers. As Variety is reporting that Daredevil Born Again launches with 7.5 million views on Disney+. Now, want to put that number into a little bit of perspective for some other shows that just recently aired. The new Suits, the highly anticipated Suits LA, just launched. 2 numbers that the networks have said they're very, very happy with. This new Stephen Amell show launched with 4.7 million views in its first week, which is pretty big for it, especially big for Stephen Amell, who I think when he was doing Arrow was pulling in like 1 million viewers a week. And this big jump to 4.7. Just to give you a little sense of scale in comparison to what Disney Plus shows and Marvel shows are doing compared to others. However, while 7.5 is about 500,000 higher than what they were originally projecting, they were originally projecting about 7 million views in the first week, got 7.5, so that's good. It still, however, lags behind some of the other fare we've gotten in the last while with MCU shows on Disney Plus. So again, Suits LA, and we're talking about its roughly first week, first 5 days, first week. Suits LA got 4.7 million. That's considered a big win for them. Now, Daredevil Born Again got 7.5, but Agatha All Along got 9.3 million views in its first 5 days. Now, of course, Loki season 2, which again had the benefit of being the second season of the show, but still, Loki season's 2 debuted to 10.9 in the first number of days that it was out. So while Daredevil Born Again's numbers are definitely solid compared to most other TV, I think some people will be surprised to find out that there were more people interested in Agatha All Along. And again, Loki had the advantage of being the second season, but still, or of Loki, so it's trailing around a little bit behind that. Now, Jonathan, I didn't warn you about this, but let's see if we can bring up the classroom on this.
Story of my freaking life.
Jonathan hates it when I don't give him advance notice in this.
There's your classroom.
All right, so here we go. I got your classroom right here. So I want to go over some reasons. First of all, I do not want to lose sight that 7.5 million views of its debut is solid by almost any other metric, okay? But why is it lagging behind some other MCU stuff? By the way, it's not the smallest by any stretch, but why is it lagging behind Agatha? Why is it lagging behind Loki? First thing I want to maybe suggest, not that this is the number one reason, but just the first on the list, is it's been almost 7 years.
It's been a long time.
Right? It's been almost 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so as much as we fondly think about the Netflix series on with Daredevil, it's been a long wait.
Mm-hmm.
And while there are people who watch it and kind of excited about it, new fans probably had no particular commitment to it or connection to it. So there's that. Number 2, Daredevil wasn't as popular as people think. Daredevil never had 20 million viewers of its episodes and stuff like that, right? Like, it was great and it was an awesome show. Maybe at the time, the greatest comic book show ever on television, all that kind of stuff. But maybe it wasn't quite as popular as people think. And now that it's on Disney Plus and we're getting numbers, because of course Netflix never gave out numbers in that era. Now we're seeing that right around where its popularity was. That's another. By the way, I'm not saying any of these are the right answer. I'm just throwing these out as possibilities. Number 3, a decline of Disney Plus subscribers. Now, worldwide, the numbers have gone up, but we found out in the last kind of round, I think Disney Plus lost about 500,000, 600,000 subscribers. Worldwide, they still picked up numbers, but maybe that's it. Number 4, decline in interest in MCU TV. That's a possibility. I mean, listen, for somebody like me, I like, for the most part, a number of the MCU shows, and I like that they have MCU shows on Disney Plus. But to me, the MCU is a theatrical thing. That's where the real MCU is. As much as I love Ms. Marvel, as much as I love WandaVision, as much as I quite enjoyed Agatha, as a matter of fact, as much as there are a couple of others that I appreciated. To me, it's really more of a cinematic thing, and maybe there's just a little bit of a decline in the interest of MCU TV. I'll leave that list off there for now. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Kickoff. Man, time flies, doesn't it? One minute you're reminiscing about your last vacation, and the next you're thinking about major life goals like buying a car, getting that dream home. But if your credit isn't where it needs to be, those goals can feel out of reach. And that's where Kickoff comes in, the #1 credit building app in the App Store that makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free to build credit fast. And that's exactly why I love Kickoff. They give you a credit line for just building credit, not for spending. Your on-time payments get reported to the 3 major credit bureaus, helping you improve your credit mix and payment history, 2 of the biggest factors in credit growth. If your credit is under 600, you could see a jump of about 28 points in your first month. No credit check, no hidden fees, no interest, just smart credit building. Building credit can happen faster than you expect with Kickoff. Don't wait. Get your first month for just $1 at getkickoff.com/Campea. That's kickoff without the C. Get 80% off at getkickoff.com/Campea. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Campea to activate offer. Offer applies to new customers first month only, subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions may apply. Point stat based on Equifax Vantage Score 3.0 changes for Kickoff users starting under 600 who made their first on-time payment between January of 2021 and March of 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kickoff can have an impact on your credit. Individual results may vary. But Rob, let me ask you, when they get these numbers come out, 7.5 million, again, kind of eclipsing a highly anticipated new show like Suits LA, some other stuff, eclipsing a number of other prominent shows, but lagging behind some other MCU shows. Number one, how should Marvel feel about the numbers they got? And then why do you think, as strong as the numbers are, that they lag behind Agatha or Loki or some others? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think Agatha and Loki were both single episode debuts. And this was a 2-parter. So you had twice as much time. And with those other debuts, it was only an hour. So in terms of investing time, you're asking your viewers to invest twice as much, and they might catch up with it in week 2. They might have only watched that first episode.
Did Agatha only launch with one episode? I think it launched with a couple.
Did it? Maybe it did. I don't know.
Okay,
That's just a theory.
Right.
Maybe disprove me. But I think that also, it has been a while. I think people might think, oh, I've got to catch up, and go back and look. But I'd be curious to see as the weeks progress if the viewership is going to go up, because people, word of mouth, to me, when it comes to viewer numbers on shows, it's all about building momentum. I mean, now it's funny. I saw that Paradise has become one of the most streamed new shows. And when it started, people were like, what? I mean, so you got to watch the show. No one knew what I was talking about. And now that the 8 episodes are out and word of mouth has propelled Paradise's viewership up, I think it'll expand. And I think that in this, if I was talking to Chris Gore, who's seen all the episodes, and he's like, it's good. Like I was like, is it not good?
Yeah, I think Christian saw them all too.
Yeah, and the people that have seen it say not only is it good, but by the end it leaves everybody begging for more. We're going to be waiting to get to the next season. So I would imagine that we're going to see the viewership on this show rise, probably significantly, because it's good.
I mean, I've really liked it so far, but I always got to give this caution. Marvel's Disney Plus shows all start good.
I know.
They don't all finish
WandaVision,
strong.
which I love. The end was kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I loved WandaVision's ending myself, but let me also throw this out here too. Could it also be, bring it back up the classroom, could there be a fifth, is Daredevil being what everybody knew was going to be an R-rated show, or TVMA by TV, like maybe is that another thing that impacted maybe a smaller viewership for it?
I think there's something there, because Agatha all along and Loki are a little more family friendly, a little bit more. I mean, this is a dark show. And also Agatha all along, don't count out the female audience. I mean, both with Loki and Agatha all along, Agatha all along had a built-in, and we've seen Captain Marvel, when it came out, it was propelled to over $1 billion gross, because what does it give you? It gave mothers and daughters a hero to believe in, and they could go together, and people always discount the female audience. And I think that plays into it as well. And Loki has a big female contingent of fans. So yeah. I think Daredevil probably skews more male-centric, and it has less family. I mean, I wouldn't want my 8-year-old to watch Daredevil.
Chris, you see these numbers. Number
I
one,
mean, I would
I
watch
was
it.
like, grow up, watch it. Watch this man's arm get broken. Rub some dirt on it.
how should they feel about their numbers, and why do you think maybe they're lagging behind some of the other MCU stuff?
Well, that 7 mil is certainly nothing to, sneeze at. That's fine. It's just compared to these other shows.
Yeah.
And I do think Rob was onto something too with those other season premieres, because Agatha, even though it was 2 episodes, the runtime for that was 33 minutes and 35 minutes. So that's one episode of Daredevil, basically. So that could be part of it.
Daredevil's was for like 43 and 50.
It was almost 59.
Yeah, it was almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I could see if people are slowly watching that one. It also could be that word of mouth thing too of, hey, I really don't want to get invested in another show right now. I'm going to wait till some of my friends tell me it's good. Because that's been the big thing with Paradise. I'm so glad you brought that one up, because my refusal to tell people what it's about has gone, well, if you're not going to tell me the plot, I'm not going to watch it. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you. So I need you to just invest in episode 1. And if you don't like it, don't worry about it. I feel like there's a little bit of that here of, we have these leftovers of, I don't know if it's going to be as good as the Netflix one. I don't like some of the stuff the showrunner said. I don't know if I want to get into another show. Or for people who are not inside this comic book bubble or, this MCU bubble, maybe they just aren't really into seeing something like this. I feel like we're going to have the same kind of build like we did with Penguin.
Yeah.
Of, hey, this is a show that happens to have superheroes in it, which is how I think all superhero properties should be treated. You just happen to be a super being. You just happen to put on a mask and cape or whatever your whole attire is. These shows, when they really lead with character and these stories of intrigue and mystery and what's happening politically in a city, I think that's how you get your quote unquote run-of-the-mill audience invested, by letting them know, hey, this is a great story that happens to be based on some comic book content.
Penguin is I think that's a good indicator. I mean, I don't know what the Penguin numbers are, but I would imagine they grew quite exponentially.
They kept growing as the season went on,
because that show was so good, but I think it probably took people like, I'm not going to watch a Penguin show.
Yeah.
But once you found out what it was, like you just pointed out, because it dealt with corruption, it dealt with crime, it was much more grounded, that people forgot. I mean, you could watch that show and not know Penguin had anything to do with Batman.
Oh, absolutely.
And love it. Be like, what is this? This is awesome.
I'm going to throw in another potential reason why I think lagged behind a little bit. Maybe number 6, that Agatha and Loki are already in the MCU. They're already MCU. Now, you can make an argument that Daredevil had 3 seasons of television, all that kind of stuff. But
And
again,
he
that was
caught a
almost
break.
7 years ago.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, and Loki's old school MCU. You're going all the way back to the original Avengers, and I think it's a good point.
And Agatha was in WandaVision, so maybe there's part of that too.
Potentially.
And again, Agatha was actually another example of that, where it started off at a certain length, and its audience kept growing as the series went on. So it's going to be interesting to see how Daredevil's audience does. Did it keep people on board? Does that word of mouth get them returning like they did with Penguin, like they did with Agatha, and like it did with Paradise? Or will they MCU it and kind of have declining quality? I really like the first 2 episodes. We'll see how tonight's episode is. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, by almost all metrics, Daredevil Born Again has started off pretty strong, but behind some of its other MCU counterparts. How do you feel about this? Should they be glad about that? Not happy about it? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.